what soldiers did for entertainment or just to pass the time in the trenches during World War I. Well, there wasn't much free time in the trenches, but when soldiers did have a bit of a break, they made sure to take advantage of that time. Soldiers would write letters home or journal about the war. About 12.5 million letters were sent home during the war, most of them from soldiers or their families. Some soldiers' loved ones would send parcels with treats in them, like cigarettes, gloves, scarves, chocolates, cakes, and sweets. The soldiers enjoyed the food because it was a welcome break from the mundane rations they were provided in the trenches. They were usually provided biscuits, bread, and canned corned beef. However, in the summer of 1916, there was a flour shortage, so bread was made with turnips. Many trenches also had a Young Man's Christian Association, or YMCA, hut where soldiers could rest and relax. Some soldiers spent hours relaxing in the YMCA huts when they had time. It would also be used as a meeting space. If there were any concerts or lectures going on, they would be held in the YMCA hut. Some soldiers really enjoyed playing sports, which the military encouraged as it kept them out of trouble, their spirits up, and they kept in shape. The most popular sports were football, rugby, cricket, boxing, and athletics. Some of these teams had men that would have played their sport internationally if it weren't for the war, so the teams were very good. They would also have equestrian events to improve their horsemanship. Some men would meticulously groom their horses just for these competitions. The soldiers liked to draw, read books and magazines, do hobbies, play cards, or gamble. Whenever they could, they would take naps to make sure that they had some rest. Very rarely, they would be able to visit the towns and purchase things. Many soldiers loved music and theater, and it was a big part of what they did for entertainment. There were concerts and bands and choirs would come perform shows for the troops. Sometimes the soldiers would be able to have contests and put on comedy shows. By the end of the war, almost every Canadian division had its own entertainment troupe, along with any performers that were visiting. The entertainers would sketch, dance, sing, and perform skits for the soldiers' entertainment. Other concerts would feature comedy sketches, jokes, and poetry recitals. The military enjoyed this because it would help boost the soldiers' morale, which was needed by the end of the war. The soldiers could also put on musicals. They would write the scripts and set up the lights, music, and instrumentals by themselves. The musicals were a lot of fun for many soldiers, and they would spend time enjoying watching them. They would also watch short movies to help distract themselves from the war. The majority of soldiers enjoyed comedy movies and tended to scoff at movies that tried to depict the horrors of the war, such as documentaries or topical fiction. These movies the soldiers jeered at, especially during the scenes of war, seeing as they could not possibly show how bad it was to be on the front lines, or the sense of the impending doom the soldiers felt all the time. These cinemas, where the movies were shown, were often set up in bombed buildings that had been abandoned long ago. They would have many cinemas in an area, and even some cinemas would move around. The movies would be shown with the sounds of bombings and gunfire in the background, but were a welcome distraction to their daily horrors. Despite their horrible equipment and how everything often failed, soldiers would put on about 3 movies a day. These movies were often packed to the brim, with more people than could fit in the building showing up to see them. There was even a report of once 1,190 people showing up to a showing, with no more room for anyone else. Thank you for watching.